Hello, good evening, and welcome to tonight's special edition of Wealth Creation Through Industrialization. I am Hadiza Olaosebikan. Tonight's program is special because we'll be showcasing some of the efforts being made by the Bank of Industry to tackle post-harvest losses in the agricultural sector, as well as reducing importation of processed food into the country. But just before I let the cat out of the bag, let's take time to enjoy this short break.
Nigeria records post-harvest losses and wastages annually in the agricultural sector due to limited processing and preservation capacity. This results in high food prices and food importation, with its attendant effects on the nation's foreign reserves. To enable Nigerians optimize the benefits from the country's vast agricultural products such as cassava, oil palm, rice, tomatoes, and others, the Bank of Industry has launched a 5 billion naira Cottage Agro Processing Fund, the CAP Fund. Customers can access the fund to establish plans to process our various agro-produce into food products or intermediate raw materials for industries at a single-digit interest rate of 9% per annum. For more information on the CAP Fund, please visit www.boinigeria.com/capfund. Bank of Industry, developing Nigeria's agro-processing industry through the CAP Fund.
Welcome back. Still wondering what you just saw during the break? Yes, it is true. The Bank of Industry, under the leadership of the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Rasheed Olaoluwa, recently held a press conference to unveil one of the many initiatives the bank has embarked upon to support the micro, small and medium enterprises in the country, and also fast-track a comprehensive transformation of the Nigerian industrial sector. This particular project is called BOI's 5 billion Cottage Agro Processing Fund, also referred to as the CAP Fund. The fund is designed to benefit limited liability companies, enterprises, and cooperative societies engaged in the processing of agricultural produce into food products or raw materials, either for industrial use or for the export market. And it is going to attract a single-digit interest rate of 9% per annum. Did I hear you say great? Well, the Wealth Creation crew would like to take you through the CAP Fund press conference, where the MD CEO of BOI, alongside his management team, presented the BOI's 5 billion naira CAP Fund to members of the press. Happy viewing. During the inaugural media briefing of the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of the Bank of Industry, Mr. Rasheed Olaoluwa, in July this year, he outlined his developmental agenda for BOI, which are to adopt global best practices and also to make widespread developmental impact on Nigeria. In consistence with these objectives, after a series of consultations with various stakeholders in the Nigerian industrial sector on how the bank can be more proactive in transforming the industrial space of the country, the Bank of Industry, led by the Managing Director, came up with several developmental initiatives targeted at specific sectors and customer segments in order to deepen penetration and enhance the bank's support to these sectors. One of such initiatives is the BOI 5 billion naira Cottage Agro Processing Fund, tagged the BOI CAP Fund. At the unveiling ceremony of the CAP Fund to cross-section of media house representatives, the MD said it is better for the country to move away from a natural resource-based economy and adopt a manufacturing and service-based economy.
Manufacturing is the most important engine of long-term growth and development. It is imperative that we transit from a natural resource-based economy to manufacturing and service-based economy. Under Nigeria's Industrial Revolution Plan, NIRP, agro-processing is one of the 4 key sectors that have been identified as strategic and in which Nigeria has a comparative advantage. The product we are launching today is aptly named Cottage Agro Processing CAP Fund. It is targeted at small and medium industries at the low technology, labor-intensive end of the agro-processing spectrum. Inclusive growth is our primary consideration. This represents BOI's first direct intervention in any sector. The fund is designed to enable BOI, being Nigeria's leading development finance institution, to play its catalytic role of paving the way for other financial institutions to follow. We are demonstrating to others how to lend to small and medium industries in the perceived high-risk sectors of the economy. The Cottage Agro Processing CAP Fund will provide loans to beneficiaries to establish small-scale plants, otherwise known as mini mills, to process Nigeria's agricultural products, such as cassava, oil palm, paddy rice, groundnut, yam, maize, sorghum, cocoa, shade nut, plantain, cashew, hides and skin, meat, chicken, fish, etc. These products are grown and are available all over Nigeria and have been selected to ensure an even distribution across Nigeria's 36 states. We plan to finance about 1,000 projects under this fund.
While outlining the steps being taken by the bank to make sure that the project is effectively executed, he also listed some of the best practices adopted for the successful implementation of the CAP fund.
We have identified the priority products for each state of the Federation, and we have assembled a number of partners for the effective operation of this fund. The projects will be located very close to the source of the agricultural products to be processed. The business plan that will be submitted by the applicants must address both the primary and the secondary sources of energy to power the plants. The equipment supplier will be accredited by BOI. They will provide a performance bond and will enter into a maintenance agreement. So we'll have a tripartite arrangement between BOI, the equipment supplier, and the borrower. The loans will be granted at a single-digit interest rate of 9% per annum and total management fees of 1%. The tenure is 5 years with a moratorium of 6 months. We project that the fund will help in creating a total of 20,000 direct and indirect jobs. The fund size of 5 billion naira for the Cottage Agro Processing Fund is only a starting point, as we intend to deploy a second phase after the full utilization of this initial fund. Ladies and gentlemen, industrialization is a sine qua non for sustainable economic growth and development. The funds accruable from the sale of oil cannot bring about the desired growth and generate employment, except we embrace technology and industrialize as a nation.
He, however, urged all and sundry in the agro-cottage industry to take advantage of this Bank of Industry's intervention in agro-business.
At BOI, we want to encourage all SMEs to take full advantage of this fund. But as they say, nothing good comes easy. Loan applicants must come very well prepared with viable business plans. We expect them to utilize the loans judiciously, add value, and create jobs. Full and timely repayment of loans granted under this scheme will provide the entrepreneurs with clear paths to greater project loans from BOI. In other words, if you get a loan of 5 million and you repay, it's almost automatic that you qualify for a 10 million loan. We wish to inform all our stakeholders that the Cottage Agro Processing Fund is only the first in a series of funds targeted at specific sectors and customer segments of the Nigerian economy. As more loanable funds become available to BOI, we shall, in due course, unveil more funds to enable us play a developmental role and create employment for millions of our youths.
After his presentation, members of the press sought for further clarifications on the CAP fund.
In your presentation, you told us that you are working with some partners to ensure that these loans, this facility get to the appropriate beneficiaries. So what is the guarantee that the partners you're going to use will not be such that will collect this money and then dump it and then be trading with it in other areas?
First, let me say that this intervention, like I mentioned, is a direct intervention by BOI. Okay? So the only involvement of commercial banks will be limited to what we call the SME-friendly commercial banks to be able to partake in the working capital component of this loan. And the working capital component is only 10%. We have a list of commercial banks that we've identified. We've had meetings with them. They've agreed to work with us. And the SME stakeholders, that's the NASME and the Association of SMEs, agree with the list of banks. Now, in addition to banks, we also have a list of equipment suppliers. Okay, because it's not going to be, we're trying to manage all the risk elements as much as possible. So the applicant is not at liberty to just go and bring any equipment supplier of his choice. We have people that have been certified, and if you want to bring a new equipment supplier, it also go through a process of certification to ensure that they can supply the right equipment that will actually process these agri-products, from the natural primary agricultural product to a food product or ultimate raw material for industry. FIRO, the Federal Institute of Industrial Research, Oshodi, is going to play a major role with us, working with us on this, because I visited FIRO, I think about 6 weeks ago now, and clearly you can see that they have developed a number of very interesting technologies, that are dedicated towards agro processing.
Yeah, I just want to know the duration in which the fund can actually be assessed after submitting maybe proposal or application for the fund.
As much as possible, we would like to do this from the application point. If the application is bankable and it's interesting, all the questions are addressed, we expect that you should be able to get a decision within 2 weeks, to 4 weeks. How much is the fund? We're dedicating 5 billion in the first instance. And like I said, if we fully utilize, if we exhaust this fund, we're prepared to make available additional funds.
Sir, please, can you just tell us details in terms of how to access this loan? What are the requirements? Does it require collaterals and all those things?
For any applicant at all at BOI, let me first of all mention the generic requirements before we now talk about the specific. Generic requirement for me is important that when you are applying for a loan at BOI, you can clearly articulate your business model. The business model has 4 questions. First, what is the product that you're offering? Secondly, what is your target market? Who are you going to sell these products to? Why should anybody buy your product? What's your value proposition? That's value proposition. How are you going to deliver it? How are you going to create it to ensure that the product actually comes out live? For me, if you can articulate those 4 issues, I think we have a basis for a very interesting discussion. So that's generic. For this particular product, first, it's agro processing, which means that you must have a product that's available in Nigeria that you would like to process to, either a food product or an intermediate raw material for industry. The agri-product must be available in sufficient quantity. We are not looking at a massive transport cost, so we expect that you'll be locating your factory very close to where the raw materials are available so that your transport cost is minimal. We expect that you will identify an equipment supplier that is certified and accredited by BOI. We expect that you articulate some kind of personnel requirement that is within the limit of your budget. We expect that you identify some markets for the product you want to sell, you want to process, and so on. So these are basic elements, of the business model that we expect you to be able to articulate. And for people who may not be able to do this themselves, that's why we are appointing the business development service firms to help. These business development service firms will provide the services at almost next to nothing, to applicants, to enable them increase their chances of success at BOI.
This fund is meant for the agro business. Are you having any partner with Bank of Agric, or is this fund directly with Bank of Industry? And I remember a former intervention fund. There is something on agro. Is it different from this one, or we're having? Because by the time we are writing a report, there should be a difference between the former intervention fund and this new one you are setting aside for agro business.
I think it's very clear. Bank of Agric deals with primary agriculture, farming, basically. Now, Bank of Industry gets involved with that sector only from the processing side, which is actually manufacturing, if you look at it at the end of the day. So the decision is quite, and what we're discussing here is agro processing. The products have been produced from the farms. Now, rather than have them waste, post-harvest losses and all those things, can we process them into food so that it's more amenable to storage and transportation to the city center and all that, even for exports? So this is, the company that is doing the cashew nut for British Airways employs 2,500 skilled personnel. This is one way to create jobs for our people. So I think we should stop looking at agriculture as, just something for the, old guys in the village. No, young men and women should begin to look at agric very seriously. Agric as a primary business, agro processing as a value-added next stage activity.
You've heard it all from the MD of BOI on how the CAF fund is going to be implemented and those that can benefit from the fund. In case you're wondering how you can be part of this laudable project, well, here are some beneficiaries from various BOI funds that process our several agricultural produce into different food products as well as raw materials for the industry to ginger you up.
We produce palm kernel oil as a business. I've been doing it for the past 20 years. And you see, by that time, I'm having a problem in my working place. So I just have to go and look for something which I will be doing on my own. That was why somebody introduced me to the business in 1994. So since that time, I've been doing it. You see, our raw materials palm kernel, and we get it from the bush people, so the people who live in the farm, and some people who are doing it as a business, produce merchants. Start getting the kernel. If they bring the kernel in now, we scale it outside here. The one we are ready to process, we take it to the dryer. We pack the rest in. After drying that one, we push it in. We take another one inside there. Till when we finish that supply, then we started our production. In a week, it depends upon the kernel we receive for that week. At times, we can produce 20, 30 drums because this our machine can produce 10 a day if we have the kernel down. But if we don't have the kernel, we have to separate them so that can limit our own workers to some distance.
Who are his customers and what his products are used for?
We take to sudate oil, we take to liner oil, we take to Lagos. Some people from Lagos used to come who are producing soaps. But our major distinct are sudate and liner oil. They use it to produce vegetable oil, which people are eating now in Nigeria. The cake is being sold to those people for agricultural products, like feed maize. From here to the north, we carry all our products to the north and to the neighboring countries over there. Nigerians are the suppliers of all those people.
He then explained how the loan has impacted on his business.
The money is being used to procure some equipment and a motor vehicle, which has now gone to the farm to bring kernel. That is part. This generator is part of the fund, and money for kernel, for raw materials.
OMSA Nigeria Limited is into production of high-quality cassava flour, gari, starch, and other allied products from cassava. And with the advent of the agricultural transformation agenda of the federal government, cassava flour was given the right place in production of high-quality cassava flour and bread. The cassava bread fund was targeted at improving upgrading the existing facility of all SME, and BOI being the financial medium through which the fund is being channeled. BOI happened to be our partner regarding the fund release of the fund, and that is what had culminated in what we are having today. Our existing capacity of 4.5 is now additional 3 tons is being added to it to make it 7.5. That's what we do, and over time that had increased the number of workforce with us. From about 20, we are now moving to about 30 per day, apart from about 50 pillars on a daily basis.
Nigeria records post-harvest losses and wastages annually in the agricultural sector due to limited processing and preservation capacity. This results in high food prices and food importation, with its attendant effects on the nation's foreign reserves. To enable Nigerians optimize the benefits from the country's vast agricultural products such as cassava, oil palm, rice, tomatoes, and others, the Bank of Industry has launched a 5 billion naira Cottage Agro Processing Fund, the CAP Fund. Customers can access the fund to establish plans to process our various agro-produce into food products or intermediate raw materials for industries at a single-digit interest rate of 9% per annum. For more information on the CAP Fund, please visit www.boinigeria.com/capfund. Bank of Industry, developing Nigeria's agro-processing industry through the CAP Fund.
Welcome back. You can also be a beneficiary of Bank of Industry facilities. And now that the 5 billion naira Cottage Agro Processing Fund has been unveiled, you don't need to waste any time in approaching the Bank of Industry's office nearest to you, or visit our website www.boinigeria.com/capfund. Let us all put on our thinking caps and stop believing the notion that agriculture is only meant for our old folks in the rural area. There's a lot we can do with our agricultural produce. Come, let us support the transformation agenda of the federal government in the agricultural sector by taking agribusiness seriously. In this way, we can put a stop to post-harvest losses of our agri-produce and reduce food importation into Nigeria. It's on this note that we'll draw the curtain on this week's special edition of the program. For more information on the CAP Fund, please log on to www.boinigeria.com/CAP Fund. You'll be glad you did. It's good evening and have an enterprising week. I am Hadiza Olaosebikan. Bye for now.